Remember to click like, subscribe, the bell notification, and whatever else YouTube has you clicking on to support us. What's up, everyone? Marcus is here, not the Kaiju no Kami, because this is a Let's Talk video, except obviously I'm wearing my Kaiju no Kami t-shirt because I just finished recording my Boomonger Part 2 review and a quickie for the monkey, so my voice might be a little hoarse during this video. But anyway, I'm here to talk about Florida, because we took a trip to Florida 2 weeks ago and I wanted to give my thoughts on what we witnessed, because Florida was not what I was expecting. First, just some backstory. Last year, you should know that we went to Power and we had a really great time there in Pasadena. I have already talked about how great the convention was, but we also enjoyed everything else that we did. Pasadena was very relaxed and very nice looking. We went to Santa Monica Beach and the pier, and it made us decide, you know what, we want to live by a beach. But we also would like to kind of get rid of snow for a little while. Like, I don't need a complete divorce from snow, but maybe a nice separation for a couple years would be a nice thing. I like snow, but I also hate snow at the same time. Well, whatever. So we thought, well, Florida might be a good option, and Krillika's co-workers work in Florida on the Space Coast, so we decided to take a trip to Orlando. And I actually am going to use some notes that I had written on my Facebook page about our experience here, just as a reminder in case I need it. But I have to say, it was a pretty interesting place to visit. Now, let's see, what am I thinking? So we decided to go visit as possible to move, because as I put it, I don't want to buy the merchandise if I don't see it first. If I don't like the merch, then we're not doing it. And I kind of liked the merchandise. Florida was a really nice place. Now, I expected to see tons of yahoos, tons of those Florida men that are constantly talked about here in Colorado, alligators and politics up the wazoo. What we got was a place full of nice people, and it was relaxing. The weather was really nice when we were there. The only negative was driving took forever. Like, the GPS in the rental car we had said a place would take like 10 minutes to get there. Cool. But that 10 minutes was the slowest 10 minutes ever, because we would be driving for like 5 minutes and then it would say it was 12 minutes away to our destination. I was like, what? Wait, how is that possible? It went up even though we'd been driving for 5 minutes? What? People drove very, very slowly. And I mean slowly. Like, there was one comic shop in Titusville we went to that it said, the GPS said it was 10 minutes away, and I swear it took like 15 to 20 to actually get there. And then sadly the comic shop was like very in a rundown building. The owner was really nice, but he seemed like he was just exhausted, and the comic book shop was very small and cluttered. Sadly, not too much I personally had an interest in buying, since I don't buy individual comics. But if you buy individual comics, this place had a lot of stuff for you. But the GPS was always wrong. Now, Orlando was quite busy with traffic at times, especially the area we were in, which was by the convention center, because we got a nice deal on the hotel over there. So that was kind of hectic. Driving through that was nightmarish. Orlando reminds me a little too much of Denver, and I'm not a big fan of Denver itself. So we came to the conclusion we don't want to live in Denver. We don't want to live in Orlando. Which kind of sucks though, because Orlando has so many great restaurants. But Orlando's not the place we want to live in, it's the place we will visit. And we actually did get what Krillika Kelly had called professional Florida man. White collar professional Florida man. Because as we're driving past the convention center, there's a van on this side of the street. Now the sidewalk's over here. We're on this side. We're driving. The minivan stops in the middle of the traffic. The door opens up and out come like 3 people in business suits that just walk across the streetway to the sidewalk to go to the convention center. Then we get to a red light and a Jeep is like in the next lane over, and the driver of the Jeep gets out, closes the door, waves goodbye, and then walks around the Jeep to the sidewalk and keeps on walking. And it's like, what? Okay, we have seen white collar professional Florida man, but that was really about it. But everything in Orlando took forever to get to. Now, I will say the things were pretty cool there, because when we were there Monday through Friday. Thursday night, we went back to our hotel early because we were exhausted, because the rest of the week we hadn't gotten back to our hotel till like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night. So we went back to our hotel and took a walk. We went to this place called Icon Park, which was pretty awesome. There was a Gordon Ramsay's fish and chips place there, so I was like, oh my god, I have to try this, because this guy is always talking about how great restaurants could be and eating restaurants, like tearing restaurants apart when they're terrible. I was like, I need to see this, and sure enough, actually, the fish and chips I had was fantastic. The fish was perfectly crisp. Or I should say the breading was perfectly crisp and it wasn't overcooked. So the fish wasn't hard. The fish was a perfect mix of moist and delicious. It's hard to put into words, but I really enjoyed the fish and chips there that Thursday night. Icon Park was pretty cool. We walked to the opposite end, which had this whole like event stuff going on. That was really nice. I loved all the lights. Pretty cool stuff. Anyway, so our second day in Orlando, we were like I said, we were looking to see if it's a place we want to move to. So we were also apartment hunting. We went to an apartment in Titusville brain fart. Titusville, the apartment was really good. The problem is when we went to Titusville, it was kind of far away from everything. The apartment was like far from everything that I couldn't just walk to. And me being a forever passenger, I kind of need like to live in a place where I can walk to restaurants and stores and stuff. If like there's a time when like Kelly is out of town on business or whatever, I would like to be able to walk to places. So that was kind of a bummer, but it was a really nice complex. We also went to Cocoa Beach, which granted did not compare to Santa Monica, but was the best of the 2 beaches we went to, because the next day we went to Satellite Beach, which was kind of boring, but Cocoa Beach was fun. We went onto the pier and ate at the restaurant there, which I had this really good grouper sandwich that was once again perfectly crisp for the breading. The fish tasted very fresh. Oh, it was fantastic. I know I had fresh fish in LA last year, but it has been years since I've actually gotten fresh fish, given that Colorado is like in the middle of land. Our fish is not fresh. Now, Cocoa Beach was, like I said, cool. Not as amazing as Santa Monica. I don't think there's anything in Florida that will compare to Santa Monica Pier, but you know what? For what it was, I really liked the little pier in Cocoa Beach, and as I said, the food was good. Then for dinner, we went to this place called Ashley's. There's supposed to be this haunted restaurant. Food was really good there. The next day we went to Melbourne, which Melbourne is, for those who are familiar with Colorado, I compared it to Highlands Ranch and Lone Tree and Parker for Colorado, because Melbourne was awesome. The first apartment complex we looked at in Melbourne was this place called Vero West, And like right down the street, you have shops galore. Target, a movie theater, Walmart, all kinds of stuff. So I'm like, man, that is perfect. And the staff at the apartment complex was really nice. Actually, the girl that was helping us out, she was from Colorado. So I was like, sweet, somebody who actually knows what we'll be talking about then. That's awesome. And I will say, one of the things I actually really found about Florida is that everybody was so nice. None of the apartment complexes, sometimes when you go into an apartment complex, the staffs are like, oh, you're not planning to move in for like a long time? Oh, okay. This is a waste of my time. So I was kind of expecting people to be like, oh, you're from another state. Oh, this could be a waste of my time. But instead, every apartment manager that we spoke to, or leasing, whoever, whatever they call them, employee, they were all super nice. They were very understanding. They were informative. There were quite a few of them that were chatty. One of them in Orlando did kind of make a semi-racist remark. I don't think she intended to make it racist, but it came out that way. But so the apartment complex we saw in Vero West was really nice. Lots of stores. Then we went to Satellite Beach, which was, like I said, it was a place. We went to, where did we go? No, that day we didn't eat lunch that day because we had a bigger late breakfast. But anyway, so Melbourne was awesome. In fact, I think, okay, that's where I really want to go to. So we ended up finding a comic book shop, which sadly is going out of business. Disappointing. And then we found another comic book shop called like Famous Funnies that was huge. I was like, damn, you walk in and they've got, so one side of the store has like Marvel graphic paperbacks, the other side has DC, and then in the middle at the back of the wall is, I think, an amalgam of everything. And they have like these sections, like they had a horror section that had horror displays, horror figures, horror comics, obviously like the NECA stuff. Then they had like an 80s section and superhero sections and all this cool stuff. It was really nice. And then, let's see. Thursday, we went back out to Melbourne, looked at another place. Where did we eat? Oh, and Wednesday we went to a pizzeria that was really good food-wise. Service wasn't the greatest. It was the only restaurant we went to the entire week where our server seemed dead to the world, which was kind of disappointing because all the other servers we saw in the restaurant were very engaged with their tables. This lady was like, well, what can I get you? Oh, okay. Here. Okay. Well, what does your wing thing mean? Oh, it just means you get wings for, I don't even remember what she said. But she wasn't the greatest personality. The pizza we went to, though, it was called Ryan's in Cocoa Beach. I think it was Cocoa Beach. But it was like this 2-story restaurant. So we went to the second floor that was outdoors. Pizza was great. It was nice to eat pizza at a low altitude again. Those of you who either have never experienced high altitude pizza or have only experienced pizza in high altitude just don't know what you're losing, or you just don't know. There's just pizza at a high altitude just does not match pizza made at a low altitude, at like sea level. There is just something about the way the crust cooks, the cheese cooks, that just cannot be matched. And so I always make the joke that no matter how great a pizza place is here in Colorado, the highest it can be is acceptable. Florida, this pizza place was so good. I want to go again, but at the same time I'm like, I don't want that waitress again. But anyway, The suckiest part about this is we had leftovers, but we had no way to actually cook the leftovers because of our hotel room. Yes, there was a microwave in there, but we were never in there long enough to actually have pizza. And I have a thing about microwave pizza. I actually prefer to cook my pizza. When I reheat pizza, I prefer to cook it in the oven again than microwave it. I don't like the way cheese melts in the microwave for pizza. In fact, there's a lot of things I don't like microwaved. But anyway, pizza was great. Service, not so much. But that pizza was so good. Wings were still kind of disappointing. The wings were still tiny like they have in Colorado compared to Buffalo that has these nice big wings. Anyway, like I said though, people were really nice. People were just welcoming. People were talkative if you got them engaged. Politically, I was expecting the conservative capital of the country to be very militaristic in its mannerisms, and it wasn't. Like I said, people were nice. The people were free to express themselves how they want. Like, we saw a couple of gay couples, and it was great because the way people talk about it is completely outlawed in Florida, and it didn't seem that way. People were open about the relationships. Now, I will say there was one person that said the politics are spicy in the state, and I'm sure that is true, but then politics are spicy in every state. It doesn't matter where you are. There are spicy politics everywhere. That is just a normal thing. That is just how politics are, because politics are spicy. I did see one Confederate flag on a house that we drove by and a few other things, but everyone was super nice. I was really impressed with Florida. It was gorgeous looking. Just seeing all the water was nice. Now, I will say we did not see a single alligator, which was both a positive and a negative, because I was expecting that alligators had like overrun Florida, that they were in control, that I was going to have a gator coming up to me asking me to talk about the Lord and Savior Godzilla. But no, didn't see a single alligator. We heard stories of alligators, but nothing horrible, but didn't get like anything bad. Another thing that was surprised me is how much consideration there is for ADA. Like, one of the apartments we went to, the owner, who apparently is from Kentucky, very conservative from what we were told, he had installed the pool in the apartment complex. He had a ramp installed on one side so that people, ADA wheelchair bound people, can actually go into the water through a ramp. Or he also had a chair installed, a mobile chair that a person can use to go deeper into the water. That was freaking cool. Nobody in Colorado has ever done anything like that, at least from what I've seen when we've gone to apartments. Another apartment complex had a ramp in their pool. Then in the bathrooms, most of the bathrooms in Florida, the wheelchair stall had an actual sink built inside the stall instead of having to come out and use this regular sink that everyone else uses. That was pretty awesome. Again, that's not something that I have seen done in Colorado. I was pretty impressed with how much ADA consideration there was in Florida. I'm going through, like I said, my notes. Yeah, the only negative I really have towards Florida at this time is the humidity. It wasn't as bad when we were in Melbourne and Titusville and on that side, but when we were in Orlando, you really felt the humidity. So I can expect that during the summertime, it does get hot. I mean, I hated it back in Buffalo, but I mean, in Colorado, you still feel like you're walking through an oven. The difference is humidity. You are like always wet, but Colorado gets really, really dry to the point where my nose just, one little sneeze and my nose is gushing blood, or my or like my throat is very, very dry all the time, especially when there are fires going on in California and we get all the smoke. That is the worst part about Colorado, is when we have smoke coming from other places. So the humidity will take time to get used to again. But overall, both Kelly and I really liked Florida, to the point that we have decided we are going to move there later on this year. We're going to hopefully go to our top pick for the apartment we saw in Melbourne, which was in Vero West. We're hoping that we can get an apartment there. I mean, personally, I would love to get a house, but we don't have that kind of money, sadly. Now, if the channel was like getting lots of money, we could, but we can't do that. So yeah, I really enjoyed Florida. I enjoyed seeing everything that we got to see. I took so many pictures. And I'm pretty sure I inserted pictures throughout this video, unless I got lazy and didn't do pictures. But yeah, I took a lot of pictures. Oh, the other thing I forgot to mention. The first night we did go in Orlando to the Universal City Walk, which was pretty cool. We got there and it was just like all these restaurants and shops and stuff, all lit up very beautifully. I mean, there was a lot of beauty in Orlando. I just don't want to live in Orlando. But Melbourne, oh man, that place was great. I love that place. I fell in love with that place like instantly. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's just do it. Let's move. So now we have to do the joys of moving. But like I said, I expected people to be rude, be mean. I mean, some people driving were rude. We saw a guy who was going past, we were in the turn lane, and this guy goes past us and all the cars in the turn lane, and then cuts to the front of the turn lane in the middle of the actual lane. It was like, what? And then we did have a guy on one of the highways cut us off. He was going he was going at like 90 miles per minute and going on the off ramp, and then just cut right in front of us from the off ramp across the lanes. So some drivers were super crazy, but that was like the craziest of them all. I was very impressed. We found an Ollie's when we were in Orlando, which was weird because I've always thought Ollie's was a myth, because everyone talks about the store Ollie's that has discount figures. So I was like, yeah, they're a myth. And now I finally found one. So I'm like, oh my God, it's real. We went to a mall in Orlando, which was a nightmare to park, but the interior of the mall was well worth it. That was a lot of fun. I think it was called the Mall of Florida or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, it was a nightmare to park, but actually inside was fun time. We ate at this one shop. We had a dessert at this one shop which was not a gelato shop. First time I've ever had gelato. It was a good time. So yeah, I really enjoyed our trip to Florida, way more than I expected. I was actually expecting to hate Florida. So I went in to hate it, to go, yeah, let's not move here. And now I'm like, wow, yeah, let's do it. Let's move. Which is going to be a long and arduous process. Oh my God, moving all of this stuff across country is going to be a nightmare. But I really enjoyed it. I want to see Miami next, which when we move to Melbourne, we're like halfway there. So shit, I'll finally get to see Miami, and it'll be perfect timing for Grand Theft Auto 6. That'll be even fun, just as fun as well. But yeah, I had a good time there. Lots of great sights, good food, people were super nice. God, they were super nice. It's the New Yorker in me is always weirded by people who are super nice. It's just not something you're used to. Like the first time we moved to Colorado, we're walking and this guy is walking the opposite direction. He says hello, and we were like waiting for him to ask us for money, and he just kept on walking. I was like, really? He doesn't want money? Okay. Okay, that's awkward. Huh. Weird. Usually when people say hello to you, the next thing they say is, do you have a dollar or something for them to have? So that was kind of a weird experience for Colorado. And yeah, Florida was like wet Colorado. That's how I'm going to describe it. It's wet Colorado, because both are like giant golf courses that have obstacles called buildings in the way, but one is high up and super dry and the other is super wet. So Florida is wet Colorado. So I felt comfortable there. Yeah, actually I don't think there was any place I felt like, oh my god, we need to get out of here. So overall it was fun, and there's a lot of conventions in Florida, it seems like, to go to. So I'm also looking forward to seeing brand new conventions, because as much as I like the conventions here in Colorado, they have gotten pretty boring and stale. I mean, I love Colorado Anime Fest, but I need some new sites. I need some excitement, new activities to do. So yeah, I'm definitely excited. It's gonna be nightmarish to move. A lot of work because of how much crap we own. I might actually just sell my DTOFs off, or try to sell my DTOFs instead of moving them, and then buy brand new cases when we're out in Florida. But yeah, I am impressed. And even though Cocoa Beach doesn't compare to Santa Monica Beach, I still enjoyed it. Still nice to be by a beach. I'm hoping maybe with more exploration there can be a little area that I find that kind of reminiscent of Santa Monica, but time will tell. Because I did like how there were like tons of activities along Santa Monica, because you had the walkway at the beach, you had like weights going on, you had swings, you had all this cool stuff you could do beyond just being at the beach itself, where that was the main thing that the beaches were lacking in Florida we went to, is that it was just the beach, which is awesome. I don't swim, but it was awesome because beaches are cool. But yeah, I wish there was more to do, because the one cool thing in Santa Monica is there is like this road next to the beach, so you can do like a walk all the way down the beach but not get dirtied from the sand, whereas here you are walking on sand the entire time. But it was still cool. It was still awesome. And we also went to an aquarium in Orlando. That was by Icon Park. That was pretty cool. And a wax museum, which was interesting. Very interesting. Never been in a wax museum before, but it was kind of cool to see, like, oh, dude. Sometimes it's like, okay, that's way too creepy. And then other times like, wow, that did a really good job. Or there was one of Shaquille O'Neal was like, what the heck? That is not the best pose to take, but okay. But overall, yeah, I had a good time. Any of you from Florida? If so, what is it like living there for you? Let me know in the comments. Click like, subscribe, the bell notification, anything else YouTube guys are clicking on to support me. You can support me on Patreon and Bluesky at tokuaannetwork, Facebook, Instagram, Discord at kaiju no kami. Website is creativitybydesignllc.com. There's also a cool GoFundMe that can help the channel survive for another 10 years. And until next time, bye.